Hello here. So today we are going to present my website. So it's been a long time I have been working on this, and so I should have done that video a long time ago. I kept working on other things, mainly the software, which will be out I think in a week or two, depending on how much work we still need to do. For now, the website is still free. I should have put it up in the Explorer mode, but everything is still free right now. And I think maybe in a day or two, I think I will probably switch to the paying mode. So, and then or maybe I will wait for the software, but I'm not sure which one actually. So here, so this is a subscription that will take place. For now, you have access to the Explorer, which means you have all the features in the new zodiac calculation. So you click here, I made this on purpose. So you have two themes. I usually prefer to use this theme. It looks a bit more professional, but if you like some badass theme, the red one is great also. But for this presentation I will use this one. So you have here, this is the main page, the most interesting page for you. And here you have access to the calculation for the software, which is the equivalent of my software. And so here, so this is the wheel. You have almost the same thing on my software, but a bit better. So you have a database, a manual entry, or a way to import a CHTK file, which is a Kala Astrology file software, which my teacher use, and right now it's not working because I just switched to Windows to make that video, so everything is not set up properly. I don't even use Windows anymore for the past 2 weeks. So what I wanted to say, so you have the database. You can, for example, if you want to see a few things easily, for example, it's not complete, but you can look here, for example, select Bruce Willis, and you click here. You have two options: tropical zodiac or Aditya zodiac. So if you have followed me a bit, or if you know Ernst, usually for now, this website, most people who come on this website are usually Ernst teacher, or on my Facebook groups, sometimes I post messages and people come on this website. But I have almost no view on YouTube for some reason. My channel is like dead, and I think that's YouTube algorithm, not just my way of talking, which is highly, I would say at times very, very hard to understand, because for some reason I have a special astrology, which is why I created this software. So here you have two options, tropical astrology and Aditya zodiac. So tropical classic is what most people know. So if I click calculate here, you will see Bruce Willis astrology. I didn't know he was born in Germany. So here you can see is Virgo, and the sun is in Pisces, with the moon and Venus in Aquarius. And what the fuck, yeah, it's here. So you have the elements here. You can see is water in the tropical classic elements, and you can compare here right away with the Aditya zodiac. You can see is fire here. So you can use this application for normal Western astrology. I'm not against it, even if I don't believe in it anymore. I did that for 11 years or so. And when I discovered the Aditya zodiac and I saw how accurate it is, how much things I could see, even in a movie actor, for example, most of his movie, he drives a taxi. Tvasta is the taxi driver. You see the Ascendant here in Tvasta. With the Lord, Venus is exalted. So here you have two options if you are not used to Aditya language, because you can actually read each Aditya. So for example, here I was talking about Tvasta. You can read Tvasta here, which is a divine architect. So for example, for Bruce Willis, I think in his movies that's the way he's always moving around. And usually he has a strong connection to cars or to vehicles in every of his movie, and this fits perfectly the Tvasta Aditya. You will see people with Sun or Saturn in Tvasta are very, very vehicle oriented. I have an uncle who have Saturn and Sun here, and he spends his time buying cars and selling them all the time. Tvasta is also Libra, the equivalent of Libra, which is the scale, so they like to exchange things. So that's just a presentation of the Aditya, but my website is mainly built for that. But you can still use it for everything else. I will probably, for now, the website doesn't have sidereal calculation. I'm not sure I'm going to add it, but the software already has sidereal. I think the website, probably I could add it, but sometimes it's a bit heavy for a website to have all of these options. So I focus only on what I think matters the most. So some people may feel that they are left out, especially sidereal astrologer, but like I said, the software will have everything else. And so here, what I wanted to say is that if you're not used to the Aditya names, you can use the Western names, and they are actually equivalent. And so Libra is Tvasta, and Sun Dhata is actually Sun in Aries. So that's one way to use it. I think to use it with the Aditya is better, and that's what my teacher recommends, because it gives you a new point of view of those signs. Because if theory is correct, and I think it is, let's add the tropical here in the outer ring, so you have this option here. If my teacher is correct, and I think he is, what we call Pisces for Bruce Willis, because he has Sun in Pisces in Western astrology, what we call Pisces is not Pisces, but is Aries. So we have, if this is true, we have a skewed view on what is Pisces. And what is Aquarius is actually Pisces. And so each sign is very close. A sign which is close to another is actually there is a lot of similarities between them, and I think that's why we confused them. Because Pisces is said, for example, to be the feet, and with the feet you have understanding, you stand on the world and you grasp knowledge. Aries is the head, so you tend to think, you tend to use your head all the time, and you're very logical, and each of those signs is about understanding, so they may actually appear very intelligent, both of them. But one is more oriented towards art, which actors can be. A lot of actors actually have this position. And one is more oriented towards action. And you will see also a lot of actors who are action oriented. So it's very hard actually to delimit them and to be sure which one is which. But it can be, for me it's obvious. I think I saw it right away, but many people with and have different opinions, of course. It's hard for me sometimes to respect opinion, because I actually have the sun in Aries, and I'm very, very, like, I don't limit myself about my opinion. I just say whatever it is, like I say it, and I don't pretend. I don't like to pretend. So yes, even if I do at times. Let's continue the presentation. Hopefully the video is recording correctly. So here you have a random button, so this gives you an ability to go on the database and select some actors or people. Like this guy is actually a French writer. And if I click calculate here, it's quite slow today. At times it's a bit faster than that. So you can see he has some placement in Aquarius here and Libra, with Venus in Virgo. And so you can click randomly, like for example, she is the actress, voice actress that plays Rangiku in Bleach. She's a red female in the six, how do we say that again? Six captain, I don't remember. But yeah, you can, I have a lot of voice actor, actress, and I think their behavior actually are, you can see their behavior and check it out on the just like a movie. Actually, it's not really different. So yeah, Mark Research. So I have a lot of weird people on there. It's not a pure database. So yeah, it's linking Park, the guy who made some very interesting music. And you can see this Saturn-Mars conjunction here in Leo occur in a fire sign. In the tropical, it would occur in a water sign. I think this is much more accurate, given this guy, when you watch him do music, he's not a softie. Here you can see some clear evidence, actually, because you also have Aries here. In the tropical is planets. Yeah, so Aries, yeah, so yeah, you cannot really differentiate here. I think I already did that chart once. That's random button doesn't feel like random. So yeah, for example, here you have Harry Potter, and I need to calculate. It used to be automatic. For some reason it changed. So here you can see Virgo instead of Leo. And Jupiter exalted in Cancer. And here Pisces on his ascendant with Jupiter exalted reflects someone who plays a spiritual roles, and with an afflicted Virgo he has a lot of hard time being on earth, which, because Virgo is one of the most earthy sign, it's the 6th sign, and it's about being a slave somehow. When it's afflicted, when you have an afflicted Virgo, you may feel like a slave, or you don't like physical reality. Here he has an affliction here because there is Ketu, Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Mercury is exalted though, but it's very badly afflicted by Mars, and Mercury in the 7th house is not good there. And so we can see difficulty in the real world with his mother, because Virgo has a connection to the mother, and it's actually more easily seen if you use the Aditya section and you go read Vivashwan. If you read Vivashwan here, you will see actually the connection to the mother. And so, but I'm not going to read that. So let's go. So I'm just doing some reading. Let's do some manual chart. So if you hopefully want to test this out, you will have to manually enter a chart, which I really don't like to do, and I like to do everything on AI now. So let's random guy with a Y, and you enter your birth data. If you don't like entering your birth data, just like me, I will present a way to do that soon. let's do that first. And usually you don't like entering data when you have a very afflicted Mercury like me. Prefer to be like a reporter, I guess, which often happen with people who like astrology. At least I think, because they tend to not really like being in the real world. So you click calculate, you enter your birth information, so the year, month, day, hour, minute, your name, and here the longitude, latitude doesn't really matter. You can unlock it if you want to enter it. In case the software doesn't work at times, it may be wrong about DST settings, but it rarely happens. So you select this, and then you select where you are born. Like for example, if you are born in Iran, Tehran, you click here, or if you are born in Israel, you click here. If you are born, so you click calculate, you choose your zodiac, you click tropical. Most people will use tropical, even if I say to use Aditya, unfortunately. And so and when you click tropical, you will see the Aditya being in the outer wheels. So for example, here this person is born in March 7th, so Sun should be in Pisces in the tropical zodiac, and you can see Aries in the outer ring. So the outer ring is always shifting if you want an outer ring, and you can even add a transits wheel if you want to make it a bit more complicated. So that's for basic usage of this chart. Then you have information here, or everything is information. So you have your dominant Aditya here, and when you use tropical, this section is not updated. It always displays the Aditya section. So here you can see Dhata and Parjanya, which are Pisces and Aries. You can see it's dominant here. And so you can read that. You have body parts, you have story, question, you have the dignified planet, exaltation. It's very important. That will make a stark difference when you have exalted planets. And you have the strength or overall of the planet. This won't be free. I think this won't be available, so in the free version later on. For now it's available. And so this is what we have in this is what is most used currently by Ernst Wilhelm in his course. So that's why I put it there and I use it a lot. That's very important. So it gives additional nuances about each planet. And then we have the Trimsamsa Hora, which is a very specialized retinue. So each Aditya has 6 retinue, which includes him, which makes it 7. So for example, here this random, let's make it a real person, so we have actually a concrete example. Where is the random button? Here, Eric Trump, I don't know him. Kylian Mbappe, I don't think English people know him. Let's do Britney Spears, she's very well known. And let's use Aditya with the names. And let's go to our best planet, which I think here is Jupiter in Amshu. Let's do some optimism here. So Amshu is the equivalent of Sagittarius, so it's very well placed, and it's Mula Trikona, so it's a very powerful Jupiter, and it's close to her ascendant. So she's a very optimistic person in general, thanks to that Jupiter. And we can actually go deeper than that with the Trimsamsa and Hora. If we look here, we can see Jupiter is actually in the Aditya section of the Hora. So the Hora switches as two. The Hora cuts the sign in two. So we have the first half is male and the second half is female, which is the moon and sun. So Naga is a way, it's a serpent beings, which is linked to the moon. And here Sagittarius is in the Aditya section, so it's a very masculine manifestation of Amshu. And then we have the Trimsamsa, which adds even more meaning. So for example, here Jupiter is in Rakshasa, which is a Gandharva of fire. So it's a very masculine, it's at the beginning of the sign, so everything is actually in the first elements, which is the fire elements. And Mars Gandharva. So Gandharva is warrior-like beings, and you have a small description of each beings here with actually an interactive study guides which explain to you how it's calculated and the key principles that you can read if you want actually to understand that, even without watching Ernst's course. It's actually quite easy, I think, to use it even without watching the course. Many people will disagree, but I find it like obvious in a way. And if you have a lot of intuition like me, intuition or intelligence, you will actually catch it up very easily. So let's take another example, because here it was all fire, so it doesn't really change that much. But let's take an actor in particular, like I think someone I actually quite know well, like for example Ali Carter, which plays in Heroes a person who is always fighting. She has a sun in Dhata, but it's also in, if you look here, we can see the sun is in Eti, and Eti is a Rakshasa of Earth. So the Rakshasa actually is the most fighting. So if they are the ones who fight the most their problems. So I think it's explained here. Where did I put that again? Yeah. When you click on it, it tells you what it does. So the destroyer of threats, grow or suffer, protects by permanently eliminating what's blocked love. So Dhata is about love. So they will eliminate any threats that's threatening their, for example, her was children. She was always protecting her children. So that's Eti in that sun in the Rakshasa. And so when it's healthy, it's remove problems completely. When afflicted, it's bloodlust and destroy indiscriminately. She actually has some bloodlust in that Heroes series. So it's probably not perfect in a way. It's probably here you have the sun. So let's not talk about affliction here, but yeah, you can actually do that too. And so this was a very fast explanation. I'm not sure you're going to understand it just from that. But let's take another example. Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. And where I'm going to go here. Let's look at his chart here. So the sun is in 80. That's actually this. I didn't push the button, did I? I don't think I did. Yeah. That's his chart. Much better. So the sun is in Pulatsa. So here we have someone who is more in the teaching side, because Pulatsa is actually linked to the Rishi of Jupiter. And so it's about other elements. It's teaching. He's actually a teacher in his Breaking Bad character. Is actually a teacher, so this does match someone who is very intelligent. Sun is the ability to be intelligent, and he's a teacher, so we have a perfect match here. And so we can see here, and I didn't prepare this video here, I'm just doing it randomly, and you can see it matching. I didn't even think about it twice. And you wouldn't see that with just Sun in Dhata. You would just say he's a warrior. And the warrior of the pure warrior of the Sun in Dhata would be actually when it's here. And you still have nuances, and you can see the first 5 degrees, which is more about himself, and here it's more about destroying threats, which was the Yaksha. Here it's about teaching. The moon here it's in a Yaksha, so it's about wealth. So if we can actually see the moon, or do I click that here? I'm not sure I can actually, but yeah, you can click actually here. So the moon is in a Yaksha. You can actually watch here, you see which one it is, and you click on the Yaksha here and you have the description. So the keeper of concrete wealth environment would train the unconscious through earthly things. Environment is stronger than willpower. Healthy change condition to limiting belief. Worsened environment takes away things. So the Yaksha is about concrete things. So usually Earth, it's about money. That's what strikes me the most here with Bryan Cranston in his movie. Is very money oriented, and he's using his groups, his peer, which is Pusha Aquarius, to get wealth. And he's doing here in a very difficult environment, the 8th house. So drugs can be linked to things that are forbidden. Is doing forbidden things, and the Lord of Aquarius is Saturn with Rahu, and Rahu is linked also to drugs or things that are not accepted in society. So we have a strong link here to wealth with the moon, and the moon is a very important sign, planet. So, and we can do that for every one of those people, and you would find something. That's what I have been doing a lot recently. Let's do another one. That's a guy in Bleach, as one of the most powerful character in Bleach. For those who don't know him, let's just put an image so you see that guy. This is him. So he's the most feared captain in Bleach. Let's look at his chart here. So he has a sun in Gemini, which would be Mitra, friendship. You actually have a lot of friends. And here I think it's in also it's in the Rakshasa, that's what I wanted to say, which is the most fighting ones. And he has a lot of connection to the end actually, and Gemini is the end, it's arms. So a lot of people who have planets, which what we call Taurus today, are actually have a lot of abilities to fight, because usually as human we tend to fight with our hands. And throughout this series, he's often talking about that he doesn't need 2 hands to fight because he's so powerful. And Mercury is very well placed in his own sign here in Mitra. And it's in a Rakshasa, the sun is in the Rakshasa, which tend to fight enemies, like I said. Mercury is also in the Rakshasa, so we have 2 things here. Here we can see the percentage of elements, so we can see air is actually the Rakshasa here. Actually no fire here for some reason. And you have Ketu in Tambu, which is Aries. And the Sun is in Indra. Let's see the Mars, the Lord, sorry, is in Indra. Let's see Mars is in Apsara actually. It doesn't match all the time, of course, but obviously if it would be matching, that would be too easy. So let's stop there and go to another thing I wanted to present. So hopefully this video is not too long. I'm going to stop actually this video and do another for the AI, because otherwise people won't watch the AI part. And so I think that's all for this presentation. So I think I said most of it. And you can read also the introduction if you want to understand more what the Aditya is all about. I did already so many videos on this, I'm not going to talk about that. You can watch my TikTok where I talk endlessly about that. And you can also read my website. I also have some research on Pisces, which I think is actually Aries. I made a full video about that. You can watch that video and you can actually read the article where I present some kind of proof that you can actually check for yourself. And so this is a very long article, which actually have 2 pages. So many things, and actually could actually now use the Trimsamsa to add even more nuances. You also have articles about eclipse. If you want to watch the eclipse article, I made a lot of video about that also, which I think are very important if you want to know what's happening in the world currently. And all the other part are older part, but you can still use them, for example the sign, but I didn't describe it, or I stopped at Cancer for some reason, probably because the Aditya was coming out. Then also if you want to add details, I have this very important article where I explain the psychology of the Avasta, which is one of the most important things if you want to understand a chart. And I made a video here, but it's in French and it's using tropical astrology, so classic astrology. You can compare both my older video with my new ones. And I think that's about it about this video. I think I just presented everything. And I have used also this older frame which explain body parts. You can use that. It's also integrated in the description. Here I talk about the Aditya zodiac. So yeah, and you can donate to, if you want to help me, if you think what I did is a good work. You can actually send me like this amount of money. Actually it's maximum, and then it goes back to 100. There is a bug here. I told it to put no limits, but it seems no limits for the AI was this number. If someone is rich enough, he can send me 10,000 right away, but he didn't took that into consideration. I need to change that. So yeah, we can see the the transits. You have the now button here, so if you want to look at the transits, you can, and it will use the country where you are actually from, the IP address, and you can see the current chart of right now, which seems odd. That's Western astrology. Yeah. So that's it for this. Hopefully you learned something and you like my software on this website. So see you, thank you for watching that video, and I will now do the video about AI and how to use my server to use AI.